Hey, welcome back to Wicked Weapons. It's me, Jered, the main host, I guess. I don't know. I am not joined by Matt today, so sad day. This is going to be the first episode he hasn't been in, but he's just kind of busy and he's having some technical issues. So we've got my friend Nick back on.
Yeah, fourth most awesomest person to guest appear.
I'm going to have to ask you who's ahead of you on that. Um, and then we're also joined by my wife, Lindsay, who has begrudgingly agreed to fill in Matt's position.
Howdy. I'm assuming I'm in one of those top three spots
I would
that
We'll
Nick
find out
mentioned.
when the list officially releases.
for yeah, I'll it'll be leaked. I've got a secret list, and it'll get leaked. All right, so this is going to be the first episode that we're going to cover kind of a fictional thing, which I'm kind of realizing now. Baby, be careful because I did accidentally make you an editor on the document. I meant to make you a commenter. Let me see if I can change that.
Ooh, what fun changes can I make?
No.
Insert bad words randomly in the text.
Oh yeah. It'll be like
Already on it.
Ron Burgundy situation. I'll just like read it.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, so today's going to be the first fictional thing, and so anyways, I'll get into it. I'll stop talking. Uh, well, I'll keep talking, but I'll be reading. This this is gonna be a bad episode because you two are
Oh my
gonna be
gosh.
like ripping me to shreds. Um, or a good episode, I guess. All right, so
Just look out in that document, baby, because could have already edited.
okay, I hope not. So for those that don't know, I am a massive Halo fan. So much so that in 2024, this past year, inspired by other Halo cosplayers, I made my very own Mjolnir cosplay suit, which will be pictured on screen for those watching video. And Matt actually assisted me thoroughly on the paint job. It took over 1,500 stickers because we did like a digital camo design on it, and it took me and him, I think, baby, was it 2 or 3 days of painting,
Oh gosh. I don't know.
and it was like
It was a long time, and then we had to peel all the stickers off in layers,
yeah,
which was another tedious
that was
task.
tedious. But I had already spent like 4 or 6 months painstakingly cutting like foam pieces and gluing them together, and like so it was a process, but definitely worth it, and it was really a cathartic thing. I told Lindsay that ever since I was a little kid, like that was one of my dream things to have was a Mjolnir suit from Halo. So if you couldn't guess, that's the topic of today's episode. But we're going to cover some Halo lore as we do it, and we're also going to cover some real life examples. But anyways, I kind of said what I'm fixing to say off the document. But so our emphasis on this show is, of course, covering real life historical weapons. But I'm such a massive Halo fan that I just can't help myself. So every once in a while, I'm going to throw in a Halo weapon as a topic, maybe some Star Wars weapons, just something just to kind of mix things up a little bit. And I figured I'd start with the thing that truly makes the main character in Halo, the Master Chief, a living weapon, and that's the Mjolnir suit. But let's be honest, we all want stuff like this to be real. Even our own military wants stuff like this to be real, but we'll get to that. For now, there's Halo lore we need to cover before we explain Mjolnir.
I could take over as the lore master here.
Yep.
So, before we get into some cool details about Mjolnir, like Jared said, got to talk about a few characters in the Halo universe that wore it. So, to lay some groundwork, in the Halo universe, humanity has advanced to the point of being spacefaring, having developed slip space travel, with colonies stretched across numerous planets throughout a large portion of the Milky Way galaxy. So, you'd think that sounds like a, pretty fun time, golden age. Well, unfortunately, as mankind is prone to, resources were not distributed evenly. Go figure. Um, Inner colonies, which would be the colonies closest to Earth, got first dibs on important resources, while outer colonies were left to the scraps. And inevitably, this resulted in years and years of insurgencies and revolts, against the inner colonies and Earth. Rebellions that the UNSC, which is essentially Earth's space navy, or now we have Space Force, was tasked with stopping, and with predictions estimating total collapse of the spacefaring civilization that had been built, many in the UNSC believed drastic measures were warranted, including Dr. Catherine Halsey. So, in 2491, the UNSC attempted the creation of super soldiers in the Orion Project, though it was shut down due to medical technology not being developed enough to produce the sought-after results. And retroactively renaming the Orion Project as the Spartan 1 Project, Dr. Halsey began preparations for the Spartan 2 Project, following in Orion's footsteps. Halsey's Spartan 2 projects sought to produce super soldiers via psychological indoctrination as well as chemical and surgical augmentation, and she completed a list of 150 potential candidates based off of a genetic criteria that would give them the highest potential of adapting to and surviving the augmentation process. If this doesn't sound morally dubious enough, they were all 6 to 7-year-old children. To quote her dialogue in Halo 4, children's minds are more easily accepting of indoctrination, their bodies more adaptable to augmentation, and the result was the ultimate soldier. Gosh, that's such a great
Super.
quote. But
Yeah, it's a really cool quote. I know Halo 4 is like very. It's a mixed bag when it comes to Halo fans. It's kind of like the Star Wars sequel trilogy, but um, I'm gonna say let Lindsay take the next page because it's got kind of some of the medical stuff that they did, which obviously none of this is real, but it's like I think the lore writers of Halo did a pretty good job of making it sound realistic. So
Yeah, you're giving me all the hard words to pronounce I see down there again. The last time I did a bullet list, it was unpronounceable names.
I forgot
But
about
anyway,
that on the Bat Bomb
yeah.
episode.
Anyways, I'm happy to take it. So, only receiving funding for 75 subjects, Halsey had the candidates kidnapped and replaced with flash clones that would pass away quickly from natural causes. That's in quotations. She did this as a way of hiding the project and also to provide closure to the parents of the children. Receiving 7 years of training, it was at age 14 that the Spartan 2s underwent the augmentation procedures. The augmentations included ceramic carbide grafted onto the skeletal structure to make bones nearly unbreakable, muscular enhancement injections to permanently increase muscle density and decrease lactase recovery time, catalytic thyroid implant to increase HGH.
Human growth hormone.
Oh, okay. Essentially causing Spartans to be larger and stronger. Occipital capillary reversal, producing a dramatic increase in visual perception. And lastly, superconducting fibrication of
Fibrification.
fibrification of yeah, of neural dendrites, resulting in a 300% increase in subject reflexes. Okay, wow. The augmentation process produced stronger, faster, more durable Spartans, and it was necessary because, as we will get to shortly, Mjolnir armor was such a powerful exoskeleton that normal humans were not capable of wearing it. These augmentations came at a cost, however. Of the 75 candidates that underwent the process, only 33 survived without lifelong complications. Ouch. 30 did not survive, and 12 survived but were permanently crippled or disfigured.
Yeah, and
Now, finally, we can get to Mjolnir.
yep. So the 12 that survived but were disfigured, they specifically used them, like in Halo lore, they took them because like the Spartans were trained not only physically but mentally as well. So they were like all brilliant tacticians. So they took those 12 and put them in like a think tank for coming up with like military strategies and stuff. But yeah, and even the ones that did survive without lifelong complications, it took them time to adjust. Like in the first Halo book, the Fall of Reach, after he gets his augmentations, the Master Chief like goes to the gym, to work out, and like it's this really cool ideas that they cover in that passage where it's like he feels like something's wrong because he's watching stuff fall and he's like it seems like it's falling in slow motion, but he's like looking at where it's at and he's checking his watch and he's like, well, it's falling at the right speed, so something's not wrong, like gravity is still present. It's really cool. I'm not doing it justice, but yeah. Anyways,
I remember listening to that with you, and it was fascinating.
yeah. But so we were listening to the first Halo book
Audio book.
on in audio form, and the guy reading it kept saying MJOLNIR.
I was literally about to say I've been resisting saying
Jonathan?
the whole time, however many chapters we listened to.
Yeah.
MJOLNIR.
Okay, so I'm gonna cover this next little bit, I guess. MJOLNIR Armor was made for the Spartans. In fact, it was a direct companion project to the Spartan 2 project. Meaning, I'm fixing to say this. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm too excited. Research and development
Nerd.
was still actively taking place while the Spartans were still in their training phase. So basically, like, the Spartans were being trained and the development of Mjolnir was taking place at the same time. So obviously, Mjolnir is named after Thor's hammer from Norse mythology. In fact, that's probably how a lot of people are familiar with the word Mjolnir, is probably from Thor in the Marvel movies. Yeah. Mjolnir powered assault armor was an advanced combat exoskeleton designed with two main purposes in mind. Purpose 1, to provide substantial protection for the Spartan super soldiers that the UNSC had spent so much time and so many resources to train and create. Purpose 2, to further enhance the Spartans' already superhuman strength, speed, agility, and reflexes. Unlike most real-life exoskeletons, the Mjolnir suit was designed to be more akin to a suit of plate armor. However, it was also designed with speed and mobility as central goals. It was constructed in several overlapping layers, custom fit for each Spartan 2. The cost of each Mjolnir suit was, according to the books, comparable to a small starship. In real-life terms, this would probably place the cost as hundreds of millions of dollars. Each Spartan 2 in their Mjolnir armor stood between 6'10" and 7'2" and weighed in around 1,000 pounds.
Is that all?
Yeah, that's all.
Dude, that's nothing.
Yeah, it's nothing. It's nothing.
But that's with their armor on, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah. Without their armor, I think they were each like 400 to 500 pounds. Like they're still like massive.
You know how
they're
like in
super.
they carry them in like helicopter things? How did they I feel like those would have to be specially made to hold up, 4 or 5 Spartans in
Oh,
their suits.
are you're talking about the Pelican?
I guess so.
Yeah. So that's like their space transport shuttles and stuff. Um, yeah, I think. I mean, that's the thing with Halo, and really any sci-fi genre is all the vehicles. If it's a spacefaring civilization, like they've pretty much cracked efficient, like high efficiency jet propulsion and stuff. So like, the Pelican can probably lift. Well, I mean, the Pelicans carry around like the big tanks and stuff in Halo. So it's like, yeah, they definitely can carry around a Spartan.
Okay. I thought you were gonna say I just needed to like suspend my disbelief
Well, that
and
too.
keep
That
moving.
too. I mean, it
Yeah,
is it is science fiction for a reason.
that's right.
But hey, we're
Don't ever
gonna
question anything. It's
yeah, don't question anything about Halo.
My bad.
All right. Um, let's see, Nick, do you want to take the components of Mjolnir?
sure. I'll take the hard words because I looked ahead a little bit and you're giving me hard words, but I'll take it. All right. So each Mjolnir suit was comprised of the following layers. First, the inner skin suit, which was the innermost layer of the suit that came into contact with the wearer's skin, and this layer was a moisture-absorbing synthetic material linked to the environmental control computer. And this layer works directly with the next layer to control the temperature and the fit of the suit.
Yeah, you
Uh,
gotta
so
when you're 1,000 pound walking superhuman cyborg man, you gotta have that dry fit cloth to wick the sweat off your boys. You know what I mean?
Nike is not a sponsor.
I didn't like that we're talking about the boys like that. That's out of nowhere, but all right. Um, all right.
Gosh.
So, so the next
Not for
layer.
Jered.
I'm
It's not
sorry.
out of
I'm
nowhere.
sorry. Since we're talking about Halo, I guess I should say to to make sure you don't get a bad case of the swamp butt
Oh my gosh.
because the Master Cheeks for anyone who is has watched the
Oh
Halo
boy.
TV show. That atrocity.
We pretend like the Master Chief show didn't, or the Halo show did not happen. You just pretend like that didn't exist.
I'm good with that because I know about the Master Cheeks meme, but I actually haven't watched the show. So, and I'm glad that I haven't.
All right, on to gonna move fast, Master Cheeks. So the next layer was a hydrostatic gel layer, and it worked directly with the skin suit to regulate temperature and the fit of the suit. This layer can also be pressurized to protect the wearer from high G forces or high velocity impacts. Say if you're just jumping out of a ship from orbit,
Mm.
as Master Chief has done.
And also Noble Six for Halo Reach fans.
They are quite literally built different. All right, on to the hard words. So the next layer, layer number
Do
three, is a
you
liquid metal. Hmm?
do you want me to say that one?
No, I'm gonna give it a go. It's
Okay.
it's it's your podcast. It's gonna be ruined on your podcast. So,
Okay. Fair
uh,
enough. That's my punishment.
so the next layer is a liquid metal crystal piezoelectric layer.
You
Never
did
heard
pretty
that word in
good.
my. Hey, nice. So this layer could be considered the most important layer of a MJOLNIR suit, as this layer is the one that amplifies a Spartan's physical abilities.
Nick, you
This
did
layer,
that on purpose.
huh? I don't know what you're talking about. Uh, this layer works by stiffening or deforming via electrical charges sent through it, and essentially makes it an external layer of muscle, and it doubles the wearer's strength and increases reaction time by a factor of 5. And the books it's described as less the person moving the suit and the suit moving you. So these features make the suit incredible in hand-to-hand combat and evasive maneuvering, but make it just as incredibly difficult to adjust to. Even just a small movement, such as saluting, could be translated into an extremely forceful movement if not conducted correctly. For anyone that's seen Iron Man 2, I think,
Yeah.
where they're showing off the different suits and the guy turns and twists his spine.
Yep. Yep.
Hmm.
Because of this, only Spartans with their augmentations could utilize the MJOLNIR. Normal humans would have their bones shatter from the extreme forces produced by the suit.
Yeah. So in the first Halo book, when they're getting like suited up, the researchers and stuff that made the suits and are like putting them on them, they show them a clip of a normal Marine trying to wear the suit, and he like goes to salute, and it like breaks his hand, and then because of that he starts writhing in pain, and that just shatters more bones, and it's like it was awful to read it.
Oh my
But
gosh.
yeah, it's literally like the book form of the Iron Man 2 courtroom scene.
Don't like that imagery.
Mm-mm.
So the fourth layer is a titanium nanocomposite bodysuit. This is the outermost layer of the bodysuit. It's a titanium nanocomposite weave that was bullet and plasma resistant. Always got to be on the watch out for all them bullets and plasma.
Well, it's also very convenient that it's plasma resistant because, like I was kind of touching on in the intro with the Halo lore, the Spartans were actually a response for human rebellion. It was just coincidental that, the UNSC trains all these super soldiers and then very shortly after get into a war with an alien group that they didn't know existed previously.
Conspiracy?
Yeah, one might wonder.
Hmm.
Halo does have a lot of themes of like I didn't get into any of it here, but there are like secret organizations and like the alphabet soup organizations, as Lindsay's dad would say, where it's like their name is all just 3-letter acronyms and stuff. But yeah, Halo's got some of that underlying governmental shadow organization type stuff in there.
Don't we all? So the final layer is a titanium alloy outer plate, and it covers a large portion of the body. As the final layer consists of a series of plates made of thick titanium alloy, and the armor plating was impervious to small arms fire, resistant to armor-piercing rounds, and coated with a refractive coating to disperse energy and heat.
And
Important side note. Oh, sorry.
you go ahead. You go ahead.
Important side note, the initial model given to the Spartan 2s was the Mark IV, which did not have the added protection of energy shields. Starting with the Mark V, energy shield technology was reverse engineered from Covenant tech and implemented into all models that followed. MJOLNIR took the already superhuman Spartans and turned them into the ultimate weapon at humanity's disposal. It was such an advanced exoskeleton that it is often referred to as a second skin.
Yeah. So like all throughout the Halo books, they talk about it being like a second skin. I think in the second Halo book, which is actually just the plot of the first Halo game, there's a portion of it where Master Chief is actually outside of his suit and he's wearing just like normal military fatigues, and it covers a little bit of like his internal thoughts, and like he feels naked without the suit because he had worn it for so long. But anyways, I'm going to let Lindsay take this next portion up until we get to the Talos suit. But we're gonna,
I'm just gonna go ahead and ask you, how do I pronounce YAGN?
I'm just gonna say
Yawn?
yawn. Yeah,
Okay, cool.
Yagin.
Yeah,
Okay. All right. Exoskeletons in real life. While the Mjolnir, I'm just kidding. While the
Oh
Mjolnir
gosh,
suit may sound like a fantasy from science fiction in real
y'all are
life,
killing me.
exoskeletons have been a growing tool in the human arsenal since the 1890s. That's all. Wow.
Yeah.
The very first exoskeleton-like device was patented by Nicholas Yon. It was a spring-operated device designed for military use. It was intended to enhance the user's ability to run and jump, but it never made it into actual production. In 1917, a steam-powered exoskeleton called the pedometer was created. I thought that just
I
counted your... Oh,
prefer
pedometer?
I prefer to say it pedomotor, and that is a
Pedo
Okay.
motor.
horribly unfortunate name.
Yeah, it is. Well, also, like, there's a thing that counts your steps that they used to have before Fitbits, like, in the early 2000s. And you could just count your steps by, like, it was like the swinging of your arms. And I
So
thought that was called a pedometer,
I
but
think you're right. I think that is a
okay.
pedometer, but the difference is this one is pedo
Steam powered?
motor. See, it's motor. What you're
Yeah.
talking about is
Oh,
pedometer.
Meter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. I'm getting tired. Okay. Got it. All right. So that was 1917. It was steam powered. In 1960, so we're fast forwarding quite a bit here, the Hardy-Man was created by General Electric. It was a military funded, but weighing in at 1,500 pounds, it was too large and heavy for real use. Oh my gosh, and I see the
So,
picture.
and part of the thing with exoskeletons is that they support, like they're all designed kind of to support their own weight. Because like if that guy's body was supporting the weight of that thing, it would crush him. But like,
Yeah, it wouldn't support him.
yeah, you can see it's like it's not very space efficient, and it's not. It also was not very power efficient. But we're gonna cover that in a little bit.
Maybe that
Okay.
guy's just built different. You know?
You're right. You're right. He's actually a Spartan.
I
Yeah.
was going to say that.
This is kind of a side note, but so the first Mjolnir suit was the Mark IV, right? But you kind of
It's
think
odd.
that's odd because if it's the first one, why is it the Mark IV? So the UNSC actually had three prior exoskeletons, but they were more akin to this, where they were like super huge and bulky and they didn't offer much protection, and the power source was not very efficient. And that's where like Dr. Halsey's like think tank came in, and they took that and they basically scrapped all of it and were like, how do we make basically a indestructible suit for these Spartans? But yeah, so that's just a brief explanation for why it's the Mark IV, is because there were three prior exoskeletons in the UNSC's arsenal.
And only the last version was thought up by the 12 Spartan think tank
No, no.
group.
So that's actually a different. It was a different think tank that I'm talking about. The
Okay.
Dr.
Okay.
Halsey's group was like a group of doctors and researchers and stuff like that.
Okay. Okay. Do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, you cover the Pitman and then I'll cover the Talos.
Okay. In 1985, the Pitman, a powered suit of armor for infantry, was made by the Los Alamos National Laboratory. Looks like it's pictured.
Which,
Should be pictured.
yeah, that one just like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. He kind of looks like a giant pill.
Yes, he does. What does that say? Photoreactive polymer gel muscles?
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting. So when I say this one was made, I think it was thought up by them. I don't think it was ever like actually produced because I couldn't find any pictures where they had made like a prototype. But what's interesting to me is that even in 1985, our actual like military people were thinking up this idea of having synthetic muscles that like helped you move,
Yeah.
right?
Well, there's several things on here. A vibrating mirror with virtual displays. It's kind of like Google glasses or something, right? And then yeah, they got antenna, the battery pack, fiberglass, polymer, ceramic, composite armor. And then they go into those layers there at the bottom.
Yeah.
Did you look at number 3?
No.
Read it.
Seared hang on, sealed impermeable condom layer. Awesome. Now all I can think about is the what is his name? Leslie something. The guy that does like Airplane and Leslie Nielsen.
Leslie
That's him.
Nielsen.
That's him. All I can think about is that scene where it's like him and this woman, and he comes out of the other room with like a full body condom on.
Oh my gosh.
That's all I can think about now. That's
That sounds about right for
that's
him.
great. That's kind of what this thing looks like too.
Too bad they didn't actually attempt. I mean, this is just fascinating to me that they've even attempted something like this.
I'm gonna cover what was probably the closest that our military has gotten. So, and it's actually, I feel like it's got a very similar naming scheme to Mjolnir as well, which I almost wonder, like, because this suit was thought up after the first Halo games had come out. But the Talos would probably be the closest exoskeleton that real life humanity has thought up in comparison to Halo's Mjolnir. The Talos suit was originally thought up in 2013, and it was inspired by the death of Chief Petty Officer Nicholas Check.
What are Nicholas's involved in these?
That's what I was thinking.
Well, and also, Nick, this guy spells his name in a similar fashion to you.
NIQ, right?
NIQ, yeah.
I don't think I'm ever going to come on the podcast again.
Oh no!
Nick, no, I'm serious.
For me.
I'm serious. It's Nicolas. So he spells it exactly like you do.
Maybe if you kill me, my death will allow the building of a real life Mjolnir.
Well, so a little bit of background on this guy. He was a Navy SEAL, I believe I'm remembering correctly. So he was a Navy SEAL, and it was in 2013. So they were over in the Middle East, and him and like his squad were trying to get out. Like basically POWs, or like they were American hostages that were over there. And so they're trying to rescue these people, and it's like nighttime, if I remember right, and they were trying to be covert, like sneaky, not get discovered. Well, they get spotted, and he knows which room the hostage is in, and he very selflessly, his thought process was like, and I'm assuming he communicated with his squad too, and that's how they know this, but like he thought, they've discovered us, they're probably going to kill the hostages, and he was like, to prevent that from happening, I'm going to go breach that door so that they focus on me. And so like he runs and breaches the door, and he dies. But they did end up saving those hostages. So it was, I don't know, it was, very honorable, noble sacrifice, and it inspired the U.S. military to try and make this suit, specifically so that in the future there wouldn't have to be another soldier that dies trying to save people in that fashion of like breaching. So this suit was meant to be for the lead guy
Yeah.
of a squad. Like he's breaching the door. But so the program was led by the United States Special Operations Command, SOCOM, which Matt, when he hopefully listens to this, that'll pique his interest, I think. The program was a collaboration between 56 corporations, 16 government agencies, 13 universities, and 10 national laboratories. So, literally, kind of like Dr. Halsey's group of researchers working on Mjolnir. Like, there was a lot of minds on doing this. And so, it was meant to be an armored and powered exoskeleton that would have 12 hours of power. It was meant to be bulletproof, be able to monitor the user's vitals, and provide the wearer with enhanced strength and perception. Any of that sound familiar?
Sure does, partner.
Thank you.
I just want you to stew in the silence.
In the awkward silence. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair. That's fair. After I made the Nicholas joke, the Nick joke.
I do that to him a lot.
She does. She does.
Make you think about your actions.
I think I've got to tell this story because it's just funny, and I'm definitely gonna leave it in and post it too. So
Oh, great.
we were in the grocery store one time, and she's looking at soy sauce, and she's looking at the regular soy sauce and the low sodium soy sauce, or was it? Am I wrong? Was it two? It was two different brands of low sodium soy sauce.
Yeah.
One measured the salt in tablespoons, and one measured the salt in teaspoons per milliliter. And she was like, "Well, I can't tell which one's got more sodium in it." And I go, "Well, a tablespoon is bigger than a teaspoon," thinking that I was being helpful. But she was like, she turned to me and was like, "Oh, is it really?" Like, she thought I was being.
Yeah.
She thought I was being a smart aleck.
And I was like dripping with sarcasm,
Yeah.
and his face was like, "Ouch."
Yeah, it hurt. It
But
hurt my
I
feelings.
genuinely was like, I've known that since high school or before, probably. I mean, it took. Yeah. Anyways.
And our relationship has never been the same since.
Yes.
Yeah.
All because of a stupid teaspoon and tablespoon.
Yeah. Hey, did you know that a tablespoon's bigger than a teaspoon, though?
See, the way to remember that
No.
is that a table is bigger than a tea.
That's right. That's what my mama told me when I was like 5.
Or in another Halo reference, a table is bigger than a tea bag.
Is that a real reference?
Yeah, video game teabagging started with, I think it was Halo 1. Where
Oh
like
my gosh.
when you have a victory over
Jeez.
another player, like you kill the
Right.
other player, you go and you crouch up and down on them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
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 It's pretty mature.
You notice what
Us
teabagging is.
Halo fans
Oh.
are really proud of ourselves. All right, so the Talos project.
I already forgot which was bigger, a teaspoon or a tablespoon. Y'all are gonna have to remind me. I'm just kidding.
It's okay. I'll tell you in the grocery store. the Talos project was stopped abruptly in 2019 when it was determined that the technology needed for the original vision was most likely a decade away from being developed. Which again, another similarity in Halo lore, the Spartan 1 project got stopped because they determined that medical technology wasn't capable of producing what they wanted. So most of these military exoskeletons were left at the drawing board or prototyping stage because of being too heavy, too costly to produce, and the most significant problem, power. Mjolnir suits in Halo are powered by a very small nuclear fusion cell. This cell could provide power for years and years without diminishing in power output. As many of you may know, our nuclear power plants are massive and they work by nuclear fission. In real life, we have not cracked nuclear fusion, which
Yeah.
actually Lindsay's coworker Joel was just telling me that apparently in one of the particle accelerators they have cracked nuclear fusion, but it's like very, very,
They
very specific circumstances that resulted in it. So,
But also, if I'm thinking of the same thing, I could be thinking of a different thing. Um, Essentially, nuclear fusion is meant to be self-sufficient, and the biggest problem running into is that, like, that they have not been able to reproduce a fully self-sufficient fusion reactor,
yeah,
which in this case means like you put in 1 unit of power, it spits out like 2 units of power.
right. And for those that need more explanation as to what nuclear fusion is, go outside, which I know for a lot of internet users is not a fun thing to do. But go outside and look up at the sky, and you see that glowing orb that's up there and gives us nice light and warmth. Yeah, that is a natural fusion reactor called the sun.
So what does it require? Like, what are y'all saying that it requires
So nuclear
to react, I guess, or to create power?
nuclear fission, which is what our nuclear power plants operate off of currently, is the breaking apart of atoms.
And how do you break them?
Very
So
You
carefully.
you
shoot them at each
use
other?
okay, so a radioactive particle like uranium or plutonium is
Yeah,
shedding off electrons, right?
right.
And it's shooting off ionized radiation. That radiation is shooting off and impacting other atoms and breaking them apart.
Okay.
Right. So that's nuclear fission. It'll break. So say oxygen has, is it 6 electrons or is it eight?
8, I
Eight.
believe it's 8.
Yeah. So say it hits oxygen, it'll break an oxygen atom into, theoretically break it into two atoms that have 4 electrons. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm if there's any like nuclear physicists out there, I'm probably just absolutely butchering this right now. But nuclear fusion would be the combining of two atoms. Basically, you smash two atoms together and they fuse. That's where the fusion and fission comes into it.
And that creates energy?
Yes.
Yeah. So it basically creates a lot of heat, and they both kind of produce similar things, but fission produces a lot of byproducts, and fusion kind of doesn't. It's mostly just heat.
Yeah. So
Um,
fission
like here,
produces radiation and fusion shouldn't.
basically like if a fusion react, one of the biggest things with like the differences is if like a fusion reactor, like obviously it's theoretically, but like melted down, or had like a similar like meltdown, quote unquote, like a fission reactor. I mean, honestly, like you could be like near the breakdown, and then you would probably be hurt, but you would survive and not. Like it would mostly be the nuclear fusion requires such specific factors to operate under that like the second any of those factors goes away, it would just stop. The process would just stop happening. It would just
Hmm.
kind of like dissipate.
Okay.
Very fascinating. I didn't really expect us to get like full blown nuclear, you know, nuclear
But also, I'm
physics.
just going to throw this out there. If it's happening on a small scale inside your suit, I mean,
So it's
it
a
could potentially be dangerous, right?
it's a nuclear fusion cell. So it's basically like
Okay.
think of it as like a nuclear battery, and they've obviously in the Halo universe that's how they've become spacefaring right? They have these ships that are powered by nuclear fusion. Like they've cracked the code on nuclear fusion and they've
Right.
mastered it.
Right.
And in
It's
this case,
efficient and safe.
yeah, and in this case, they miniaturized it.
Right. Okay.
But
Cool.
that's the big problem with real life exoskeletons is that the power source to have a battery big enough to power the Talos suit, for example, for 12 hours, the batteries that they were coming up with were 400 pounds.
Oh my goodness.
So it's like the weight to power output ratio needs to be adjusted with
Yeah.
technological progress. So
AI will figure it out for us, so we don't really have to worry about using our brains anymore.
yeah, we can just chill on our couch and play Halo until Amazon delivers us our Mjolnir suit. So
Yeah.
that we can finally go to the grocery store in safety. For those that don't know, going to the grocery store, as Lindsay quite well knows, is like one of my. It's like the bane of my existence. um, I feel like I'm revealing way too much about myself on this episode. All right, so, anyways, to finish us up, I made a little list of goals for our military R&D people to try and reach, and whoever's in charge of heading this up, just like hit me on my phone when you crack the code on this stuff, because I want to know. If you tell me that you've got a Mjolnir suit, I'll sign up for the military like right away. I'll be jumping
Oh,
in that
really?
thing. Yeah. Me and you will talk about it later, maybe. But
Yeah. First time hearing about it.
all right, so just my little list of goals. Master Chief, suited in Mjolnir, was capable of the following: lifting 1,720 pounds. If you go by game lore, he's also technically in game capable of flipping a tank that I don't even want to know how much it weighs. He's capable of running at speeds in excess of 30 miles per hour. And when I say running, I don't mean like just sprinting at that speed. I mean like consistent running for insanely long distances at 30 miles an hour. I think sprinting speed, I'm trying to remember what his like top speed was. I want to say it was like 50 something miles per hour. He was capable of reacting fast enough to dodge an anti-tank missile traveling at nearly 1,000 miles per hour.
Hmm.
And finally surviving a fall from space.
So that's some good goals, baby.
Yeah.
I think the running would be my favorite, personally.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. That's good to know.
I like moving fast. Of course, maybe that would seem slow because, I mean, your car, you go way faster than that. But
Well,
I
and
feel like being
like
in the suit, it would feel pretty fast.
their perception is increased. So,
Right.
like, them running at that speed probably just feels like normal jogging, you know?
Wow. I'd
So,
probably end up smacking into a tree.
conclusion. In reality, as we resolve issues limiting the advancement of exoskeletons, weight, power supply, and cost, a real life suit similar to Mjolnir seems to be an inevitability. Cue the Thanos saying, I am inevitable thing. Um, and let's be honest, the idea of being a massive superhuman in a near indestructible suit of armor that makes you capable of single handedly flipping a truck is pretty wicked.
How did I know that that skill was going to be the one you went, like, lean towards, the lifting 1700?
Well, and also the being tall, being very tall.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Well, and think about like dodging a missile that's going 1,000 miles per hour,
Oh, it's great.
Me
surviving a.
personally, I would just catch it.
You would just catch it.
Stop it with your forehead
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
or your teeth. Your teeth.
One last little note that I did want to throw in. The thing with Master Chief. So, like, there were 33 Spartan 2s that got all the way through. They got their armor and everything. Master Chief was like the kind of de facto leader of all of them. But
Mhm.
what's really fascinating about it is that, like, part of the reason he was kind of the de facto leader is because he was not the best at any particular thing out of all of them. Like, there was a better sniper than him, there was a faster runner, there was a stronger Spartan, there was a taller Spartan. He was like the average of all of them, right? Not to say that he was not like insanely capable, and I mean, he's literally the main character of the Halo games, and he saves humanity every game. So, but like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, he had some of all
Yeah.
their skills.
Okay.
So, yeah.
What is that? What do they? What's that phrase they say?
Master of all chiefs.
Yeah. Yeah. Or
No,
and there's another way
jack
you
of
can.
all trades, baby. I'm being. I was doing a.
Oh my gosh. Well, no, there's a thing where it's a like a master of none.
Oh, jack of
Jack
all
of all
trades.
trades, master of none.
Oh, okay. So it's the other half of that. Okay.
Technically, the full saying is jack of all trades, master of none, but better than the master of one.
Oh,
Oh,
I've
I
never
didn't
heard
know
the third
that.
portion.
I never knew there was a third line to it.
Yeah, I
Better
get
than a
like
master of none?
one of one.
One?
Yeah,
Okay.
that gets left out a lot.
Yeah,
Same way
because
with like,
it's. I always hear it like jack of all trades, master of none, as if it's supposed to be like a negative thing.
oh, it's the same thing with like curiosity killed the cat. The actual line is curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought it back.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Is this like your secret talent, Nick? You just know
He knows
the
I know
rest
the
these
of.
he
because
knows the
I
ending.
well, I got really into looking up like, I think I found one out. I found one of them out, and then I was like, oh, what other sayings have been changed? There's like a third one that I can't think of, but I know another one that it's been shortened to essentially mean the opposite of its original intent.
Turns out
Oh,
that
interesting.
you know the movie Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where there's like this alien race that like builds this supercomputer, and they ask it what's the answer to life, the universe, and everything, and it says back 42, and it's like no one can figure out what that means. Turns out they didn't need to do all that. They could just ask Nick.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But
Well, this is fun, but your
yeah.
pregnant wife is getting hungry,
Oh no.
Yeah, so don't
and my
create
bladder
dinner.
is bursting.
Yeah. I we are running close to an hour now, so we can polish it off. And Nick and Lindsay, thank you for joining on this one and letting me hijack an hour of your time to word vomit about Halo.
Always happy to mispronounce for you.
Hmm.
I expect my
Words.
royalties, soon.
Yeah, I'll Nick, you'll be the first one to know if this podcast ever becomes lucrative. But anyways,
Well,
if you're
first after me.
well, yeah, yeah, but Lindsay's like literally part of me, so like we're
Oh.
actually attached at the left pinky toe.
No, I'm your exoskeleton.
Oh, ew. It's getting weirder and weirder. Okay. If you're listening, thank you for listening, and I'm sorry if your ears are bleeding. And
Oh my gosh.
yeah, so thanks for listening. I would highly recommend, if you're listening on Spotify, to go check this one out on YouTube, because there's going to be a lot of visual elements for this episode. So, which, of course, if you made it this far in the episode, it's a little too late. But, yeah, anyways, hopefully Matt will be back on for the next episode, which actually he will be, because the next episode's going to be all about him, which, you might want to go listen to that one. It's going to be good, I think.
Teaser. Ooh, a little ASMR for us.
I ate his liver with a side of fava beans.
You're not going to do the little sound?
I did.
Oh, I couldn't hear it.
Can you hear it?
No. This is sad.
I'm sad you can't hear it.
You'll have to work on your ASMR, baby. You got the first part good.
Okay. Well, okay. My Halo ASMR is over. Thank you for listening. We will see you in the next one. Goodbye.